What's going on, guys? Welcome to the circus. What are we going to cover today? Today we're going to look at the Travis Scott situation. Now, this is typically something I would outright dismiss as distraction, the system being the system, and move on to the next thing. But I give a cursory examination of everything that comes across the desk, and this, upon cursory examination, became curious. And then when I looked further into it, became curiouser. So I looked at all the footage and I was wondering how to cover it, and I decided on I'm going to do as little narration and talking as possible, and we're basically just going to run through all of the various data points that I've got in regarding to what happened and then the first-hand accounts that were available. So I'm just going to go through all the data with you guys and let you guys come to your own conclusions. The beginning of all of this, starting out, I've edited the two press conferences that the Houston Police Department et al. Have done over this situation over the past 2 days, because I kind of get annoyed with them, how they're always like, I like to think so-and-so and such and such and so-and-so. I just kind of want to get to the facts. And so I've edited it for that reason. Then we'll get into the rest of the footage that I've got. But we've got 8 people who died from cardiac events at this Travis Scott concert in AstroWorld. It's outside of Houston, Texas. Now, Travis Scott has a history of promoting these giant mosh pits at his events, and it's something that him and his fan club, who I am leaning towards calling followers because it's a little bit culty, but they call it raging. So they rage, and he encourages it. He's had to plead guilty to inciting a riot for telling his fans to do it at other events and other stadiums. So this is a thing he does. On the day in question, he had been promoting on his Twitter people busting in through the walls and getting into the venue. And I'll show you some video footage where they had been doing that earlier on in the day. But before we get into all of that, some key points that made this thing seem weird to me. Somebody was injected with some kind of something. It was a security guard, and the medical people say that they did treat him with a Narcan. And he awoken, so the assumption is he was injected with some sort of opiate. That's pretty bizarre. And so the rumors come out that, somebody was running around sticking people, and that's the reason why the crowd began to freak out and started to press. Well, I'm not sure if that's true, but a lot of high strangeness did go on down in the pit. Let's get into it with the press conferences, and then we'll go from there.
We know that we had at least eight confirmed fatalities tonight. 8 confirmed fatalities, and we had scores of individuals that were injured here in this event. We had an attendance of approximately 50,000 to the Travis Scott AstroWorld Festival event. What we do know is that at approximately 9 o'clock, 9:15, the crowd began to compress towards the front of the stage. Okay, and that caused some panic, and it started causing some injuries. People began to fall out, become unconscious, and it created additional panic.
People began to fall out. So the thing that's very crazy about this whole situation is that they're saying that the deaths were from crowd pressing, except that some of the deaths caused the crowd pressing, and really at no point did any of the video footage show deaths from like a trampling. Maybe suffocation, but nothing from a trampling.
We transported, the Houston Fire Department transported at the start of the mass casualty incident, when it was triggered. And the mass casualty...
This guy talks about this event in a very strange way. He says, at the start of the mass casualty event, when it was triggered.
Incident was triggered at around 9:38 p.m. this evening. After that time, we transported 17 patients to the hospitals. 12 of those patients were transported by Houston Fire Department ambulances. 5 were transported by Harris County Emergency Services. 11 of those that were transported were in cardiac arrest. Okay.
This is where a lot of the rumors about people just dropping from heart attacks came from, because at this press conference the night of, he said that 11 people were in cardiac arrest, meaning that their heart had stopped from whatever injury, which it could have been any kind of injury, had happened at the event.
Know the cause of death of the 8 that are confirmed until the medical examiner has completed his investigation. But we are in the process. The Houston Police Department is sending units out to the hospitals to identify these patients, okay, these fatalities. The Houston Fire Department had over 55 units responding to this event. Okay, that's on top of what the event promoters had established for the event. They did have a medical component. They did have some transport units, but of course they were quickly overwhelmed when the crowd started falling out. As I mentioned, over 300 patients were treated at the field hospital that was set up out here at this location. Quickly overwhelmed, the Houston Fire Department stepped in to provide the assistance and fill the gap that was needed to provide the treatment and transport for those patients.
I want to say this because there's a lot of rumors going around, and if you don't have the facts, if you don't have evidence, I'm not going to speak against that. We have hurting families out here, and connect and find out who's deceased. We don't even have identification on some of these individuals. So my job as a chief of police is to make sure that we find out what happened. We will treat it as an investigation because we don't know. I have investigators out here on the scene. I'm sending investigators to the hospitals, because we just don't know. And we will find out. But we're going to do an investigation and find out, because it's not fair to the producers, to anybody else involved, until we determine what happened, what caused the surge. We don't know, but we will find out. And is there anything criminal? We've heard rumors of people injecting some people of drugs. So I want to check all that out. We'll open up for questions.
See, the whole time he's saying it's important not to fall into rumors, and yet he's constantly talking about this rumor of people injecting people at the concert. Just noting.
We made plans, and let me just give you some numbers right quick, because I know that was going to come up. We had 367 police officers here assigned today, 241 security officers, so a good security plan. But again, I want to determine and look at everything critically and just see what happened. And we don't have those answers. So it was on the news today. We did have problems on the front. Kids, for whatever reason, started rushing, and it got out of control a little bit, but we got it under control. But I don't think this incident is related to what happened that caused the deaths.
Now, this last part is important because it actually speaks to some of the conclusions that I've come to, having gone through all this information. So while I've heavily edited this nighttime press conference, the last minute or so that this guy talks about is kind of important. Pay attention.
Once we started having the mass casualty incident where people were started having CPR on several people, and it happened all at once. I mean, I know Chief Pena mentioned 9:38. It seemed like it happened with just over the course of just a few minutes. Suddenly, we had several people down on the ground experience some type of cardiac arrest or some type of...
So suddenly we had several people down having some kind of cardiac arrest, some kind of cardiac event. He's not talking about people being pressed. That's not what he's talking about here.
Medical episode.
He says some kind of a medical episode.
Experienced some type of cardiac arrest or some type of medical episode. And so we immediately started doing CPR and moving people right then. And that's when I went and met with the promoters and Live Nation, and they agreed to end early in the interest of public safety. So yeah, we did do that.
So, like, the event starts happening at, like, 9:38, and they shut the event down at 10:10, and they are proud of this, you guys. They're very proud of this, that 30 minutes later they managed to shut the event down. 30 minutes after the first person died that they were made aware of. And we're going to go through the footage here, and you're going to see the crowd was doing everything they could to let them know that people were dying in the crowd. And what we see here is, at best, gross negligence, at worst, some kind of weirdness. But again, I'm going to say stay objective here, and I'm just going to present the video to you. But first, we're going to go and do the press conference that they held the next day. Get all the facts. And also, just so you guys know, because I'm having some audio problems, I'm not going to be cutting into the daytime press conference in the same way as I was the nighttime one, but I am going to cut the press conference in such a way where just by what cuts you're seeing of the press conference, you'll know what from the press conference I felt was important. All right.
Let me just cover a few things first. Based on our latest information, 8 people are reported dead from the event last night. In terms of their ages, one is 14, one is 16, 2 are 21 years of age, 2 are 23, 1 is 27, and 1 remains unknown at this time. So a total of 8 that are reported dead. 6 of the 8 family members have been notified, and we know that at least 1 is outside of Houston-Harris County, reside outside of Houston-Harris County. Based on last night, 25 were transported to the hospital. 13 are still hospitalized, including 5 that are under the age of 18. Based on the information that we currently have, no one is reported missing. So 0 persons are reporting missing. Now, there are a lot of rumors on social media. Let me caution people not to buy into the rumors, okay? Because there are a lot of rumors. But nothing is left off the table. Persons who were there, people who may have fainted, or people who may, for whatever reasons, were transported to the hospital. There's a lot of conversation about people who crowd surge, all of those incidents, or whether or not anything else was involved. All of those things are being looked at, but it is way too preliminary now to draw any conclusion.
Live Nation and AstroWorld put together plans for this event, a security plan, a site plan, that they were at the table with City of Houston and Harris County, with City of Houston agencies and with Harris County's NRG Park. And so perhaps the plans were inadequate. Perhaps the plans were good, but they weren't followed. Perhaps it was something else entirely. As you all are aware, there was a similar incident in 2019 with AstroWorld. There was a breaching of barricades. There were some issues with crowd control. Actions were taken after that experience. There was stronger fencing, more and more robust barricades, more personnel and more security personnel. But I want to know, and the community deserves to know, if more needed to have been done.
Last night I put out some numbers in terms of security, police officers and private security. I gave the number of 367 police officers. That number was the number that we had assigned for the evening shift. We actually had 528 because we held over day shift officers. Live Nation has just reported to us that they had 755 security officers. A lot of security out there. A lot of narratives out there right now. A lot of them on social media, and even last night. I think that all of us need to be respectful of the families and make sure that we follow the facts and the evidence. And that's what we're trying to do here in the Houston Police Department. I will tell you, one of the narratives was that some individual was injecting other people with drugs. We do have a report of a security officer, according to the medical staff that was out and treated him last night, that he was reaching over to restrain or grab a citizen, and he felt a prick in his neck. When he was examined, he went unconscious. They administered Narcan. He was revived, and the medical staff did notice a prick that was similar to a prick that you would get if somebody's trying to inject. That is one part of it. The other thing that's very important, there were some individuals that were trampled, and we want to be respectful of that. But we just ask that y'all give us time to do a proper investigation. They're going to give us the video sometime this evening. I spoke to my commander in homicide. So we're waiting to get that. That's going to help us. But I also want to call out to the community, kids and young individuals that was out there. If you see something, say something. This is now a criminal investigation. That's going to involve our homicide division as well as narcotics. And we're going to get down to the bottom of it. 9:30, right there. That's when a few people started going down. Our people stepped up and immediately went to the producers and told them, hey, people are going down. This show ended at 10:10 p.m.
Primary medical component was delivered by a third-party medical company for the venue. The security was the same. It was a third-party company that was delivering the security primarily for that venue. In spite of that, we did have units that were pre-positioned from the Houston Fire Department to ensure that we were monitoring the progress and the event. From the time, as Mayor mentioned, from the time that the incident started to escalate around 9:30, we requested additional resources to the scene to augment those that were already pre-positioned around that venue. And this is important. Even though the plan did not require for that, we had pre-positioned units around the venue in case this incident escalated. From the time that the mass casualty incident was declared to the first unit on scene was 2 minutes. I believe we had a robust plan for a non-event. I believe we had a robust plan for a non-event. Certainly, the level of injuries, the number of people in that venue quickly overwhelmed the third-party vendors that were providing the security and the medical component. We quickly were able to respond. There is no occupancy permit for an outdoor event. Okay, what the calculation for the footprint that was going to be used for the event, if we applied the assembly occupancy, the fire code assembly occupancy formula, they could have had over 200,000 people in this venue. Over 200,000 people in this venue. Okay, that's just based on math. This venue was limited to 50,000 in that component. Part of when we have large events, one of the things that we consider is to ensure that the crowds are subdivided. They had 2 separate stages in 2 separate areas. That was part of the plan. We had inspectors to ensure that the means of egress, the doors in and out of that venue, were maintained open and unobstructed. Okay, these injuries did not occur as people would try to exit the venue. These injuries did not occur as people would try to exit the venue, and that was evident by the fact that once the event was terminated, that whole footprint was cleared out within the hour, 50,000. So the means of egress, okay, the exits, the doors were kept open, unobstructed. That was our assurance. What we're looking into is what caused the crowd surge, what led to the crowd surge and those incidents at the point of where the concert was being at, the stage. Permits that were issued for this were for LPG, and we had inspectors there to monitor that. We had a permit for the pyrotechnics. Inspectors were on scene for that. We had a permit for tents that were erected in the venue. We had inspectors for that. And we had inspectors for the permits for the means of egress, to maintain the means of egress, the doors in and out of that venue to be open and unobstructed, and we had inspectors for that.
All right, so we're going to get into the video now. I would just want to show you before we even get started about the night of the concert, what was going on earlier in the day. He was Travis Scott was encouraging his people to rush the walls of the venue, break themselves in so that they didn't have to pay. Now, this would account for more people being in the stadium or in the area than the tickets would have acknowledged. So when they say there were 50,000 people there, perhaps there were so many more people there because this behavior was happening. Check this out. And you can see here at the second entrance, and this is actually, as they go through the second entrance here, they're into the auditorium. You can see these cops on horses back there trying to block all these kids from rushing the venue, and they're just incapable of doing it. And I just see this behavior and this stampeding and rushing of the walls, and I can't help but to wonder, is one of the people who were trampled to death in this crowd that was making other people feel trampled earlier in the day. This behavior is all part of the raging kind of thing that this artist promotes, and you'll see that it's prevalent throughout the entirety of all these videos. Oh yeah, trigger warning, guys. You're about to see some violence, some disturbing images. As a matter of fact, if you're a young pup or you don't handle violence or squeamish situations, death, people being passed out, seizures, all kinds of stuff, you might as well turn off your video now, because this ain't the video for you. So this is early on in the night. You can see the crowd mentality is starting. They're doing this quote raging, which is just outright mosh pits or fighting. And this is on the outskirts of the crowd. The crowd is that in question where the people were actually dying was up closer by the stage. Those people are already lining up at the stage there to see part of the performance. Okay, so next is a Twitter video that has shown up all over Twitter and Instagram, and It's where this one individual is giving his rendition of what happened on the night in question. Now, he makes like almost a 4-minute video. However, only 2 minutes and 20 seconds of it is ever shown one way or the other. And the reason why is because the first minute and a half of this video is him describing how he almost was pressed to death in the crowd earlier in the day when Master P was on the stage. Most people have cut that part away and only left the middle of his video here where he starts talking about like he felt like it was a demonic presence. Now, I'm just going to let him speak for himself, and then afterwards we're going to go through the night through the lens of the various phone cameras that I've found.
This video to let everybody know what the fuck happened to that AstroWorld, bro. Like, okay, so when I first got there, that's when Master P was performing. It wasn't that many people there, so I had went, you know, I got in the crowd. We was probably like in the middle of the crowd, but we was way in the front. And as everything was happening, I just felt like I was being crushed and like I couldn't breathe, and I almost like literally passed out. Like I felt like I was about to like collapse. So I started screaming and shit. So that's when like the people, they seen me just because of the fact that I was in the front. So they had pulled me out, you know what I'm saying? And then I had got out and I had just stood around like not in the crowd no more. But that was during the daytime. So look, let me tell you something. Look.
So that happened to him during the daytime. So during the daytime at this venue, you had people being crowd pressed to the point where he thought he was going to suffocate, and he had to be pulled over the Jersey barriers and into the safe zone out of the crowd. And that's at the first event in the middle of the day. Now, he learned from that experience, and this is what his experience was later that night.
All right, so this is when Travis Scott is about to hit the stage. All right. Something in my mind told me don't get in the crowd, due to the fact of what happened to me earlier that day, you know what I'm saying, with the whole Master P, you know, audience and whatnot. So look, Travis Scott about to perform. It's probably like 100,000 plus people, you know, everywhere, you know what I'm saying, just standing around in the barricades, you know what I'm saying. So it wasn't as bad, but something told me don't stand in the barricade. I sat on the side, you see what I'm saying. I went all the way to like the end of the line, and I was like right there on the barricade, but I sat like, you know, like took a seat on it so I wouldn't be in the crowd like that. But I kid y'all not, bro. As soon as Travis Scott started, like as soon as he started, like all the flame, the fire, the fucking like the phoenix and all that shit, and then he popped out, started going crazy, and like I'm telling you, as soon as he started going crazy, like the whole crowd started raging and shit. Everybody just screaming, help, help, help. Mind you, I'm sitting on top of the fence. So I'm looking down on everybody and I'm seeing all this shit happening, you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers reaching and they crying. I'm trying to pull people out. So look, in the middle, it's a VIP section, like different celebrities and people who pay like thousands of dollars to sit in VIP section. Mind you, I'm pulling people out and I'm trying to pull them into that VIP section. That's where like people was pulling people in so they can breathe. So the people in the damn VIP section, they getting mad, talking about why the fuck you pulling people over here in our section. I'm like, man, fuck that shit, bro. These people about to lose their motherfucking lives, you know what I'm saying? So I pull out this one boy. This boy, he probably like 14 years old. This is a little bitty teenager, bro. This one lady, I kid you not, in the fucking VIP section, literally put her hands on this boy and associated this boy and started hitting him like, then I tell y'all don't jump the fuck over. So I end up screaming like, bitch, who the fuck is you to tell somebody what the fuck they can do? Like, bitch, this ain't your motherfucking concert, bitch. Don't nobody give a fuck about what motherfucking ticket you paid for. Like, these people need some fucking help. So I'm helping people, I'm pulling people out. And like, it just felt like we was like literally like in fucking hell, bro. Like, it felt like we was in a concert in hell. You couldn't breathe. You couldn't see. Like, just imagine all the people they gonna find tonight who was in that crowd, who nobody could see, who nobody could hear, who passed out, and everybody was just trampling on top of them the whole fucking concert. Like, I'm thinking it's probably gonna be like at least 100 people who dead tonight. Like, I kid you not. Like, in the VIP section, it was so many bodies laid out. People was getting pulled out who was fainted. And the medics were trying to give them CPR, and they was flipping them over, and like they was literally turning black and blue. Like I never seen death in my fucking life, bro. Just by me alone, it was probably like 10 fucking.
The way you can hear him talking, you can tell he's never seen death in his life. And I'm not trying to give the guy a hard time, but it's an important thing to acknowledge because you have the stage effects going on. You have this creepy song that's happening at the same time, and you have these people dropping. And this person who's never witnessed death in his life is watching all this go down, and he's moved by it dramatically.
People laid out dead. And like once the medics tried to help them, they wasn't responding. They moved to the next person. It was nothing they could do. Like this shit really fucked me up and like really spooked me tonight. Like that was like some demonic shit. Like, and what was so crazy, like people were screaming help, trying to tell Travis Scott. They was like help. The whole crowd was just going like help, help, help. And he just kept going, bro. It was like that shit was scary, bro. It was so demonic, bro. And mind you, y'all see the type of music I make. Y'all see everything, like, you know, like I've been so heavily influenced by Travis, but like after tonight, bro, like God really showed me, like, you know, like stay away from that shit, bro. Like that shit not for you, cause like he sacrificed so many people's lives tonight, like for real. Like so many people's lives are gone tonight because they want to go to a fucking Travis Scott concert and have fun. You know, he influenced people to be raging and all this shit. So many people broke in and it was just chaos, bro. It was a living fucking hell, bro. Imagine seeing all those dead bodies, and that was just by me. And the shit got so bad, I was sitting on top of the gate. I was pulling so many people in, helping so many fucking people, and people was just screaming.
So that's his rendition of what happened. Now, the first thing that I'm going to show you is the most popular 30-second clip that's been all over the internet of Travis Scott singing this one particular song while a person is passed out, is being removed from the crowd. Okay, now you're going to see that same event, but before that event happens, there is, I found the event of what literally happened to that individual that was being carried away. Many people were saying was stuck with fentanyl. Many people were saying was already dead. And what really happened was he had a seizure. And now people have seizures in these situations. They're doing drugs, they're dehydrated, they're not eating, they've been standing up there all day long to get front seats. At this point, he's yelling, ho, 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 stop, stop, stop. Travis Scott is. Now, Travis Scott actually sees all of this go down, and he calls for this individual to be removed from the crowd. This is the only event that Travis Scott sees besides another event where he sees the ambulance coming into the crowd. We'll go over later. After the individual is removed, this is a third cutaway of the individual being placed in a safe area by the cops and then eventually worked on. A lot of police standing around. Now at this point, he is seeing the guy removed, and the cops are working on him, and so he moves on with his show. Now this is a video mashup and a collage of all of the various videos that we've been able to pull off of the internet and then placed onto this so that you can see it all happen in a linear fashion, you guys. Now this is taking a lot of work because nobody's put all this stuff together so that we could see it's actually all the same event. Yeah. See, right here, he yells, ho, ho. That's actually him spotting what's happening.
Let's play it slowly. We need somebody to help him. Somebody passed out right here. Somebody passed out right here. Hold on, don't touch him, don't touch him. Everybody just back up. Security, somebody help jump in real quick. Keep going, just keep it this way.
He said, "Keep it going, just keep it." He's talking to his instruments. He's telling them to keep going, and he's telling them how to keep pace and not to lose the song completely, because he doesn't want to just stop the song. Now, you have to keep in mind, people fall out like this at shows. It's not the end of the world, but Travis Scott going to come under a lot of fire because he kept his show going after this. But one of the things is that he's claiming that this is the only actual fallout that he saw throughout the entire event. We'll see.
Somebody jump in. Come on, security, get in there. Let's get in there. Let's get in there. Let's get in there. Let's get in there. Yeah. Yeah. Standing in the ocean.
At this point, you've got people in the crowd yelling for him to stop.
In that 90210, 90210, 90210, 90210, second verse, 90210, 90210, 90210, 90210. Jesus don't feel it, no.
You can see that from his perspective, the one person was cleared away and nothing else was going on. The next videos I'm about to show you are all a bunch of videos that are going to show just how cramped these people were in this crowd. Because you try to understand, how could somebody suffocate in the open air? It doesn't make any sense. I want you to see. Here you actually have people that are in the VIP section, just like the guy was describing in his Twitter video or Instagram video, and they're literally having to pull these people over these jersey barriers because they're being suffocated. You've got event staff who's pulling people over and trying to prevent people from being crushed, and that's at this point early on should have been shut down.
You know what's right? I'm feeling right now.
I want you to just listen to the people in the crowd, not listen to Travis Scott. Listen to the people in the crowd and look at how cramped they are.
Turn the lights on, turn the lights on. Make some noise for my boy right there, hanging in the tree right there. Make some noise.
So you're already in a situation where if somebody were to fall in that situation, they're done, son. And here you start to see people are falling out. They're actually providing CPR in the foreground of this video. From here on out, you're about to see the various images of people who were passed out in the time period that the mass casualty event was declared at 9:30 onward. So all of this is happening, and they still not stop the show. And they wonder why the crowd pressed. Now, they dispatch an ambulance to try to get to all these people who have started dropping. And instead of letting the ambulance through, the crowd, quote, rages on it, dancing on top of it and preventing it to get through. Right here, Travis Scott says, well, what the hell is that? It's the ambulance. And instead of, again, canceling the show, stopping, or telling the crowd to part and get out of the way so the ambulance can get through, he just chooses to continue to go on with the show.
If everybody good, put a middle finger up in the sky. Okay, where my guy, man? Come on.
Where's my guy at? Come on, man. Like, there's something wrong with the show here, and he's just choosing to continue on. Instead of telling these people, move for the ambulance.
Yeah, all that. 2 hands to the sky. 2 hands to the sky. 2 hands up, yeah.
Meanwhile, because he starts over and starts singing his song, this is what goes on the ambulance. And you have these yahoos dancing on this ambulance, knowing that people have dropped in the crowd. At this point, the entirety of the crowd knows something is horribly wrong, and there are a few children who have the balls to stand up and say something, and this is the video feed that comes of that.
That's okay with you real quick. Please, let's do it.
They're yelling to stop the show, that somebody's dead. That headset, it's got a direct line to the director of the show. He could 100% be telling these people exactly what was happening, and instead he shoos these children away. And while they're trying to get them to stop the show, you have people in the crowd yelling this to them.
We're in there, bro. Shut the fuck up. Exactly right. We're in there. People are fucking dying. I'm gonna save somebody's life.
Now, I want you to listen to Travis Scott on stage, because at this point, he hears that people are trying to shut down his show. And listen.
2 hands to the sky.
Who asked me to stop?
2 hands to the sky. 2 hands up, y'all. 2 hands up. Y'all know what y'all came to do. Chase me. Let's go.
Y'all know what you came here for. Let's go.
We'll take care of them. I'm gonna make this motherfucking.
In the meantime, Travis Scott is with Jenner, and she and her child are in the VIP section, and they supposedly have no idea what's going on. So you have all of these deaths happening in the crowd. You have his girlfriend with his child in VIP watching, and you've got him not stopping the show. This person has probably the best overall perspective of everything that happened at the show. But remember, at the beginning of this, we were listening to the mayor and the police department and the fire department talk about how amazing their reaction time was and how great everything happened, but that the security staff was overwhelmed. I want you to listen closely to what the security staff is actually saying.
To get help after finding people not breathing close behind us. HPD coming after a long minute. HPD just waiting on paramedics. Paramedics finally came and saw the situation after another long minute. After carrying out the people not breathing in a stretcher, they started escorting the VIP section behind us. Including Kylie, Kendall, Stormy, and Travis Mall.
And here's another collage of the various video feeds played over top of each other, so you can get an idea of timing.
That's okay with you real quick. Let's do it. I was drinking in both cars. The drink your girl feel like she both fine. Some black nigga run to the ocean. Somebody here trapped on the ocean. To go up a level of disrespect. I'm just one chain away from going heavy. I'm just one angel away from blocking out the devil. Just one mountain away from being on my too much power, too many out. All in the day I send the flowers. You talking roses, I'm talking about her. Next to if she ha, I wouldn't doubt it. Took her through the hills at noon. She got the oh shit, baby girl thinks she in Honolulu. Yeah. Don't you know you in Navalu? Yeah. How many chickens fit in the cold? Wonderful, she don't wanna leave. Whoa. She jump up, bounce back like trampoline. Yeah.
And see, he's looking at all of this go down with the ambulance and trying to figure out what's going on, but he decides just to go. Now, regardless of what you think happened at this event and what you think about Travis Scott, I'm going to play his response so that y'all can hear his rendition of what was going on and how he feels about the situation. He touches his face a lot.
Send out prayers to the ones that was lost last night. We're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. You know, my fans really mean the world to me, and I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience. And anytime I can make out, you know, anything that's going on, I stop the show and, you know, help them get the help they need, you know. I could just never imagine the severity of the situation. We've been working closely with everyone to just try to get to the bottom of this. The City of Houston, HPD, Fire Department, you know, everyone to, you know, help us figure this out. So if you have any information, you know, please just contact your local authorities. Everybody continue to just keep your prayers. I mean, I'm honestly just devastated, and I could never imagine anything like this just happening. I'm gonna do everything I can to keep you guys updated and just keep you guys informed on what's going on. Love you all.
All right, so just wanted to cover the video footage, try to put it in a linear situation, try to show you guys from the best that I could what actually happened in kind of a a way that made sense. I'm not going to make any judgments about what happened at this event. I find it strange the way that it's being phrased. I find it strange the way that the performer was behaving while all of this happened. I find it strange that it was never shut down for 30 minutes. I find it strange that somebody was stuck with a needle and had a fentanyl overdose supposedly, and the police are talking about it. I find a lot of this very bizarre, and it all seems very ritualistic when you combine the imagery and all of the event effects that were happening at the same time. However, I'm not making any accusations. I'm just presenting everything that happened right here so that you guys can see it all for what it was. Now, I'm going to end this with one of my personal heroes that was in music. His name was Chester Bennington. He was in Linkin Park. I want to show you guys how an artist, how quickly they can stop this from happening and how easily they can have a safe show without having to worry about any of this drama.
Hey, yo, hold up. Yo, we got a little problem up here.
Pick him up right now.
Everybody up. Sorry, you guys. We gotta look out for safety first, for real. Nobody gets hurt. That's
Hey, yo.
number one.
Hey, yo.
We'll play this shit, the whole shit again if you guys get up, if you guys are all right. Okay, watch yourselves.
Hey, yo, man. We know we've been stressing all night about being cool, and this is the reason why. Let's go over it one more time. When someone falls, what do you do? When someone falls, what do you do? That's right, people.
Again, I'm not making judgments. There are just ways that this kind of stuff can be handled, and you don't have a conversation about, was it just ineptitude? Was it murder? Was it ritual sacrifice? Was it XYZ? The question's never asked because everybody goes home. It's that simple. Anyways, guys, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Catch me next time. Peace.